I have joining me a lawyer, Monday Ubani. Good to have you join us.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
So let's look at the intrigues of this particular case. You had the first public relations officer, Frank Uba, talking about those who are involved or those who have been arrested. According to him, one of them is a journalist with a reputable organization. Another is someone who pretends to be a superintendent of police. Just another is, I think there was a magistrate who was also involved, and then 2 military personnel at large. Let's get your reaction as to what you make of this and the kind of people who are involved in this.
Yeah, once again, thank you for having me. I think it is clearly to me some level of development with regards to the invasion. At least we now know that there are human beings that were involved, and then there are people, according to your information, the journalist from a reputable company. Then there is this a police officer who is alleged to be a fake police officer, who also made an allegation that he is a consultant to the Federal Ministry of Justice. Even though the Federal Ministry of Justice, the minister himself have rebutted that allegation and said that he doesn't know anything concerning that individual. And so with this development, I think that there is need for us to dig deeper in order to really know who is actually lying and who is actually telling the truth. Is important. If somebody says, I work for you as a consultant, and you say, I have never met him, I don't know him, he doesn't work for me, that is clearly a scenario that requires deeper investigation to unearth the truth in order to know who is lying and who is telling the truth. But the most important thing is to commend the police for coming up with human beings who we can now interact with in order to get further information. And if you recall that the president of the bar has appointed me as a special investigator on behalf of the Nigerian Bar Association in order for us to really get to the root of this invasion that we have condemned roundly. Especially, we see it as an intimidation of the judicial arm of the government, and we cannot allow this to continue. And so we must get to the root of this particular matter in order to unearth the truth and get to the root of it all in order to nip it in the bud so that there won't be a repetition of what has happened previously and also happened recently concerning our judiciary.
Whilst I think his name is he Ajodos, while he did say that he has worked, he was very, very confident when he said that he has been working for the AGF, but he also did say that he wasn't working for the AGF on this particular case. But let me ask you about the implication of this for us, where people can put together a sting operation like this in broad daylight with valid and then invalid credentials altogether.
I must tell you that this is very scary. It means that nobody is safe in this country. The house of the president also can be invaded by fake, human beings. I mean, fake police officer or fake military officers. So it speaks volume, and it makes us to look like as if we are not a serious nation. I mean, why would some people who are really fake, who have no identification whatsoever in terms of office where they work, can come together claiming to be security agent and then go to the second highest person in the judiciary and try to do some certain thing that we are very untoward until the woman resisted them and all that. So it means that nobody is safe. That is what it portends. And it's very alarming. And that the government is clearly selling this kind of side of the story. To me, I think they should have done more in order to come out with who actually authorized these people who are said to be fake. Because without any authority, I don't think that these fake, alleged fake human beings will come out with so much boldness in order to go to the home of a second highest person in the judiciary in order to go
absolutely,
and carry out
Mr. Ubani, because you just... Sorry, yeah. I'm interrupting you because I have little time left and I want to speak to you about this because you've said like about 2 times now talking about Justice Odili, how she's the second highest person in the judiciary, and people have been reiterating that, and that has brought to the fore the issue of separation of powers. How do you think that going forward this should be handled in terms of how the judiciary is viewed in the country? Because people say that this wouldn't happen to maybe the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives or the Deputy Senate President.
I think the Nigerian Bar Association has a lot to play in this regard, because the judiciary do not speak for itself. The only pressure group that actually speak on behalf of the judiciary is the Nigerian Bar, and we must use this particular incident in order to set a parameter. Probably we now begin to lay down a procedure, and that procedure must be followed. So either it's going to come by way of substantive legislation or by way of policy formulation, or whatever it is. The investigation of MBA in this regard will actually give us a way forward, so that there won't be a repetition. It has happened before, and we swept it under the carpet, and now it has happened again. We will not allow this to continue, and that is why MBA is serious about it. I want to put it on the front burner, and I must give the television houses, TVC and others, who are really putting this on the front burner, so that we must continue this conversation, deepen it, and get solution to this, so that won't be a matter where the country will become a laughing stock. To me, it is clearly embarrassing, and the MBA has demanded an independent panel of investigation to be set up by the president. That is the minimum we require in this matter. The police cannot investigate itself. The AGF cannot investigate himself. We really need an independent panel of inquiry, either judicial, by the president himself, because this is embarrassing enough. And if the federal government does not feel embarrassed about this, I think the entire citizens of the country feel totally embarrassed that this kind of a thing can happen, and somebody is saying he's a fake police officer or a fake human being that has gone to the house of the woman. Yes.
Thank you so much for your thoughts and insight on this. We'll continue to monitor this development and see how it plays out. Lawyer Ubani, always great to talk to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.